We are 2 hours away from the national championship game in college basketball, and we've got a couple of blue bloods looking to cut down the nets. Kansas, UNC. This is going to be a show. Two historic programs, two coaches in Bill Self and Hubert Davis that each replaced Roy Williams. And on the heels of Saturday night's, pun intended when I say heels, another example of showing some special toughness in crunch time. So give me Carolina to pull off the upset. I mean, what did you think I was taking Bill Self in a big spot? Come on now. Now, being fair to Bill Self, Kansas smoked Villanova. Nobody suffocates Villanova like that. Kansas shot the lights out, just like they did in the second half in the Elite Eight against Miami. But when we knock Bill Self through the years, it's not random or hate-filled. It's based on results. Bill Self teams historically struggle in big spots. I mean, take a look at this board. I just want you to stare at this, right? People ask me, why do you hate Bill Self? I don't hate Bill Self. Bill Self hates Bill Self. I mean, this is self-loathing, okay? He's lost 7 times as a 1 seed and favored in 6 of those 7 losses. Now, in theory, Kansas should win tonight. You know, they've got more dudes. Abaji's on fire, but Hubert Davis's team is so confident and loaded. They just beat Duke to end Coach K's career. This after ending the St. Peter's Magic Carpet Ride. This after using moxie and toughness to beat UCLA, to beat Baylor. And, you know, just the moxie, the talent is omnipresent. I mean, it's incredible. Love is just absolutely lovable, on fire. Manic has been terrific. RJ Davis the same. And, of course, Baycott's a big key. The sprained right ankle is kind of everything. If he's healthy, matchup nightmare. But the A-seeded Tar Heels have defied all the odds all tournament long. Brilliant coaching and talent and the aforementioned late-game toughness. There's no reason to doubt North Carolina now. Fantastic job by our friend Tracy Wolfson postgame on Saturday night with Coach K, and great words from the greatest of all time. His final game. His final post-game interview. And honestly, I'm sad. There's no Hollywood ending in terms of Coach K riding off into the sunset after a championship. In fact, let's be honest here, it's the ultimate awful loss against blood rival Carolina. But with that said, don't get it twisted. Coach K is the greatest of all time. And I know some of you watching the Twitter tough guys like to hate on Coach K because you're jealous, and I get it. You might have hated some of the Duke players and teams, Christian Laettner, J.J. Redick, but don't let your haterade overshadow what was accomplished. The most wins ever, 5 titles, domination through the decades, plural, the changing landscape, going from 4-year players to one-and-dones, NIL, social media, tournament expansion, league expansion. It all puts the numbers, the accolades into a great perspective. Regular season titles, conference tournament titles, Final Fours. How difficult it was to accomplish all of that if you're Coach K. John Wooden is John Wooden. He just happens to be the second greatest of all time. Coach K did more over a longer period of time against more odds than John Wooden. Now, of course, we're splitting hairs, but that's how you debate greatness. I'm sad that it's over. I'm sad it ended against Carolina. There will never be another Coach K. Look, being fair to AD, I love the Lakers preseason, right? I was dead wrong. I was obsessed. And you forget what none was supposed to mean to this team, but you want to use injuries as an excuse for not making the play-in? We're talking about the play-in, not even the playoffs, the play-in. The injury could have prevented the 1 seed or home court in the first round, not the playoffs or the play-in. The Lakers are a pathetic punchline. They trail the hapless Spurs and the Pelicans. Look at this grotesque record on the season for the Lakers. It's sickly. It's all but over. There are only 2 scenarios where the Lakers make the play-in. They win all 4 remaining games and the Spurs lose 3 of 4, or the Spurs lose all 4 and the Lakers win 3 of 4. You know what that's code for? It's not happening. This is the biggest example of underachievement, maybe, in sports history. Considering the star power, the Vegas projected win total, and the eventual winning percentage and place in the standings. I mean, this is gross. Lakers have 3 future Hall of Famers. You want to talk about injuries? Oh, I don't know. Look at what the Clippers have done this year without Paul George and Kawhi. The Nuggets without Murray, among other injuries. The Warriors time without Steph or Clay. Grizz without Morant. We can keep going, but AD just wants to blame injuries. Nah. No hearts, no toughness, no accountability with these Lakers. LeBron has been checked out. That AD soundbite was a nice little glimpse into the pathetic Lakers' soul. Ton of stuff to get off my chest on a Monday. Oh, we have a trade in the NFL. A major deal in the National Football League. The old pick swap. First reaction, my head hurts. I want you to take a look at the Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. There are a lot of numbers. Here's all you need to know in terms of the initial analysis. The Philadelphia Eagles clearly don't like this draft. They would rather have ammunition next year. That happens to be the right thing. This is not a great classic draft in terms of talent. It gives them the opportunity to look at quarterbacks like, I don't know, Young or Stroud for 2023, and it puts a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts, you know my Jalen Hurts take. I think Jalen Hurts is good. I don't think Jalen Hurts is ever going to be entrenched as the man. And if Jalen Hurts doesn't have a great season this year, based upon this trade, he will not be the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now remember, Philly's going to have a couple of first-round picks still this year. They had 3 in the first round with all the trades that they made, Indianapolis and the Wentz deal and the Miami deal, but now they're in a great position for this year's draft, for next year's draft, to get better this year, to potentially get their franchise quarterback in 2023. Never thought they were going to draft a quarterback or trade for one this offseason. So I think Howie Roseman made a phenomenal deal. I also like this a lot for the New Orleans Saints for a lot of different reasons. I think they right now have the ammunition to trade up and leapfrog the Carolina Panthers and maybe make a trade with the Giants to get a quarterback. Because we talked about it over the last few weeks, right? You know, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, one of these guys should go to Carolina. If they don't draft a quarterback with that 6th overall pick, I mean, what the hell are the Carolina Panthers doing? They've been looking for a franchise quarterback for years. Matt Rule's going to get fired if he doesn't get Pickett or Willis. And, you know, the Saints now have some options, right? You know, they got a couple of picks in the first round, and they have the ability, if they stay where they are, they can address the offensive line. They can address, at the end of the day, the wide receiver position. You know, they could win games this year. Make no mistake, with Jameis Winston, I'm still very high on this team, even without Sean Payton, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. But they're all a great defense under Dennis Allen, but they're in position to potentially trade up. The Giants have, and you saw it before, those 2 picks in the first round after the Chicago trade last year. And I think that the Giants are a prime candidate because Joe Schein, Brian Daboll, they're smartly building for the future. Dave Gettleman obviously left them a complete and utter mess because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. So A, my head hurts. B, this is brilliant for Philadelphia. And C, I'm very excited from a Saints perspective to see their next move on the chessboard. This is great stuff. I got to get this off my chest. The Patriots acquired wide receiver Devonte Parker from the Dolphins over the weekend. And honestly, I've been killing the offseason for the New England Patriots. It's just been terrible. It's a good move. Now, not a move where I'm going to say, okay, this changes everything and, you know, New England's going to make the playoffs or they're going to be better than Miami. I don't buy that at all, but I do think at the end of the day, when you look at it, Devonte Parker, we have him right. I mean, he's going to end up being the number 1 receiver for the New England Patriots. I really believe that. And I think, Myers is solid, Warren's solid, Aguilar is solid. Not that Parker's going to turn into this, what he was supposed to be in Miami, and he was a first-round pick for Mac Jones in New England, but this is a major upgrade. I don't fault Miami for it in terms of dealing him in the division. Obviously, they get Tyreek Hill, and, they have Jalen Waddle, and they signed Ced Wilson. So, they got Gesicki at tight end, couple of guys in Mostert and Edmonds who will catch the ball out of the backfield. So, look, at the end of the day, it's always eye-opening when you trade in the division, but if you're confident in what you are and who you have, think Donovan McNabb from Philly to Washington. Think about maybe a trade in the past with Drew Bledsoe from New England to Buffalo. Not a big deal if you trade within the division. Got to get this off my chest on a Monday. That Duke-North Carolina game was an absolute classic. The high-level basketball at the end of that game, the difficulty of the shots, the three-pointers, the bombs, that was everything. The drama, the storylines. I was just obsessed. And look, no matter what happens tonight, Hubert Davis and North Carolina will always have this. I mean, it was a ridiculously amazing sporting event. And the fact that Hubert Davis and North Carolina able to eliminate Coach K in the Final Four in his final season, this on the heels of what they previously did to Mike Krzyzewski in his final game at Cameron Indoor. Oh, that is just absolutely sweet, absolutely beautiful if you're Hubert Davis, who deserves so much credit for his coaching, the players' toughness. That game had everything, the high-level shooting, the high-level play, stars all over the court, great coaching, phenomenal win by Hubert Davis in North Carolina. No matter what happens tonight, they will always have Saturday night. Got to get this off my chest. Max Scherzer has a bad hamstring, and his opening day start is up in the air. Oh, by the way, of course, Jacob deGrom is on the shelf for an extended period of time with a shoulder injury. Mets baseball, man. Can't make this stuff up if you try. Now, I think Scherzer is going to be just fine. I'm not worried big picture. I know he's getting long in the tooth. I mean, deGrom, this was like a punch to the head and the stomach at the same time late Friday when the news came out, if you're a Mets fan. Jacob deGrom pitches like Sandy Koufax. I mean, two-time Cy Young Award winner, untouchable, unhittable last year. No injury or signs of negativity in the spring now. With Buck Showalter and Scherzer and Bassett, they are more equipped to deal with the deGrom injury than last year. But, boy, the New York Mets, to me, last week were the second-best team in the National League behind the Dodgers. When we make our baseball picks on Wednesday, I will not have them as team number 2 in the National League. And I don't even think I'm going to have them as I previously did, winning the very difficult NL East.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell for more videos.